Hey, good evening, michED family. My name is Brandon. With me is Jeff. Jeff is over there on his tablet. He looks like he's posing for a mugshot, but that's okay. We're glad to have him. And this is michED Live. Last week we had a very eventful episode. Jeff was at a hockey rink and trying to do broadcasting from his phone. And we had lots of special guests, including, but not limited to, our friend Batu, in parentheses, Ryan. Now, I don't know if Batu is going to be joining us tonight. I kind of hope he does because I have so many questions for him, thinking about him for the past week, wondering, what's up with this guy. But yeah, Jeff, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. Yeah. Last week was kind of chaotic. It was kind of weird doing a show from the phone. I feel way more connected now that I have like 5 monitors surrounding me. So we're good to go. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So, today's topic is, what's your powerful learning technology? And the first question is, what learning technology has been most powerful for you, and how do you use it? So, Jeff, what learning technology has been most powerful for you, and how do you use it? What are the people saying? I've seen a bunch of really good answers.
Yeah, let's just go down the list here. Jean Campbell says right now Schoolology has been a big one for me.
Schoolology? Is that a web service? Are you familiar with that?
I'm not. I've heard it. I haven't used it. She says standards-based grading with my kiddos has focused us on specific learning goals. And actually, this one's got a big thread to it. She was going back and forth with Jeremy Heiler says that he uses Schoolology 2. It's a great tool. 8th graders started today. Let me see. Yeah, it's a long thread. I would check out that thread because it's interesting. Everyone's talking about the standards, bringing it in there. But I'm not. If someone could tweet at us or join us and tell us a little bit more about Schoolology, I'd be interested in that.
Absolutely. And our friend Dan Smart, who, by the way, is listening to the Notorious B.I.G. on the 20th anniversary of the was it the Ready to Die album?
Ready to Die. And I think she's listening to a DJ mix too over on Mixcloud.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to sully it too much with all these remixes and stuff like that. The classic "Hypnotize." It's my song, "Hypnotize." I'm not going to sing it here. Lots of dirty words, but anyway, Ann says Apple TV. Ann and Todd Block, our buddy Todd Block, were talking about Apple TV in the classroom. I have an Apple TV. I never really thought about using it instructionally. I guess there's probably more uses than just using it as a second monitor, right? You can, I don't know, what else can you do? You can cast up to it so that people can see it all over the classroom, maybe? You heard of that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what would be the possibilities here? Like, as a second monitor, it's pretty powerful too. I mean, if you want to hook that into a projector with HDMI, right? You could basically turn your smart board into a media center and bring in what kind of streaming services could you get on it? I mean, there's a lot of people mentioning TED Talks and recovery education and a lot of streaming services. So definitely that would be powerful too. What were you talking about with sending it out to different devices? Or did I mishear you?
No, what I was saying is you have like an application on an iPad or an iPhone, something like that, and then you can just cast it to the Apple TV via AirPlay. And so, like, if you're doing a educational application with activity, then the whole class can see it, and you don't have to huddle around a little 10-inch screen or what have you.
Right. Yeah. I've never used Apple TV. I mess around with a Chromecast every now and then.
Doing a little messing around with a Chromecast.
Little messing with the Chromecast.
$35. You can't beat that. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe Ann will join us in a little bit here, and first of all, sing a little bit of Juice. Not Juicy. That's probably too dirty. Hypnotize. Right? Yeah, we'll do some Hypnotize.
We can do the censoring for her when she gets to the parts.
All right. We'll censor it out for her, and then she can tell us about some of the ways she uses Apple TV in the classroom. Should we publish the link? I'm a little worried. There's going to be some shenanigans if we do it, but you know what? It wasn't bad. I think the lesson learned was don't be afraid of the bad things that might happen. We saw this Batu guy coming on. He was smoking a cigarette and had a very cavalier attitude. But you know what? It wasn't that bad. He didn't curse or he wasn't very disrespectful or anything. And
Batu is one of those high-profile trollers. You know what I mean? He's not. He could have picked any hangout to crash.
I'd like to think that Batu heard us talking about michED, and then he said, "Well, maybe I'll check it out, and now I'll have a very good relationship with the Michigan teachers." So there's a very good chance that could have happened from that, and that's what this is all about, right? Is making friends and bringing people into the community. So I say let's publish the link. Let's make the link live.
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we do that in the name of Batu? In parentheses, Ryan.
We really don't know what "I don't care" really means. You don't know what a person.
It's kind of like Michael Jackson said he was bad, but that meant he was actually good. Maybe Batu in his culture, "I don't care" means I really do care. It could be how
you just Batu to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so the link's out there, and if anyone wants to join us right now, feel free to join us. If you are a scoundrel like that, well, I don't want to say he's a scoundrel. I don't know him personally, but
just bring something original.
bring some questions. So let's while we wait for people to join us, let's go on to question number 2, which I believe is: do these technologies have to be associated with the internet or electronic sources? I don't know, but I think our friend Todd is joining. It's Todd, for sure.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Todd. I was thinking that you were Batu for a second.
I was just showing up to see if Batu showed up.
I think that's what everyone wants to know.
I gotta say, I disagree with you, but I respect you, man.
Yes.
Oh, we got to have a conversation about what's going on. So what's going on tonight?
What's going on tonight is we are looking at this really good question posed to the michED community. What is your powerful learning technology? And I've seen a lot of good answers in here. For examples of a powerful tool that you use in your classroom, we've seen Edmodo, everything from like something called Voxer, which we're not too sure about, and there was another one.
Yeah, Voxer's kind of cool. I use it to more connect with the PLN. It's like it's a little app you put on your phone. Ben Gilpin introduced it to me. I actually have 2 messages here from a teacher in St. Louis. Now that you're reminding me to check it, but as I always forget about it. But it's just a 2-way walkie-talkie. It's really good for, like, I think it's awesome the way Ben Gilpin talks about it for giving feedback to teachers. So you could use it with students. I wouldn't really, but because then you can, administrator observes your classroom, watches your lesson. You're busy teaching. They walk out. They can leave you a voice message, and you can hear all the intonations about what they heard, and they don't have to bother to go write it down. They're busy. They can just do it while they're walking to the next class. So I think that's a cool tool, but I don't know if I'd use it with my students. But I definitely would use it with administrators. Hey, Amy.
Hey.
Emmy has joined us. Emmy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Glad you could join us last time. It seems like you've got your configuration figured out, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you see Batu join us last week? This guy Batu?
No, I did not. I didn't really make it on last week at all, so.
Well, you didn't miss much. It was exciting for us because we didn't know what was going to happen, and there was this guy named Batu who just joined, and I said, "Hey, Batu, how are you? Do you like the what do you think about michED?" And he's like, "I don't care." So it happens sometimes, but I think it's we open ourselves up to more greatness by doing this, and we take the risks. We take the risks. So Emmy, what kind of you're a student, right?
Yeah, I'm 11th grade this year. So.
Okay, fantastic. What kind of technologies have been used in your classroom that you really connected with, or that you thought really helped enrich your learning experience?
I mean, I think like just a lot with the, I don't remember what it's called. I used it in like 8th grade, but the clickers through Smart Technologies, where it was constant feedback and live feedback. I really enjoyed that because you got to know what was going on. You were able to take part in what you were doing. And then today in Spanish, we actually used an iPad app where we were translating by drawing pictures. I don't remember what it was, but all of our pictures would show up right on the smartboard in the projector. So I thought that was really cool, just because everyone can kind of see what you're doing and you can all learn together.
So everyone in your class had their own device, and you were drawing on it, and then they would be projected up onto the board. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. We were in like teams of 4, so we would draw on the iPad to translate the Spanish, and then it would show up as we were drawing live. So it was kind of, you got to look at the other teams and maybe you weren't doing something quite right, so you were able to adjust that way.
That sounds pretty cool. Todd, do you know what the name of these clicker things are?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different types of devices you can use for clickers. You can use Pull Everywhere, which you just use any device you want. There's smartboard clickers. Smartboard company makes them to work with them. There's a couple other ones. There's a little square ones, but there's lots of different devices you can use to just pull your class. I think Clickers is one you can use your smartphones too, which is a web-based one, and you put in a texting number, I think. I can't remember. I've used it once. So there's a lot of different ways you can formatively assess your class real quickly that Emmy's talking about that are awesome. So it just seems like every other day we go by, there's a new ed tech company that's taking an idea and making it more versatile for teachers to use.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like something that I really would have enjoyed in my schooling experience, was because we had like the wired ones where it was more like Jeopardy, and it was, you know, whoever rang in first. Yeah.
Light goes up. Yeah. Hey, I was where you just hit a bell on the table. I guess I'm old.
Right. Or you had a kazoo, and each person had a different.
I'm from the generation where we watched film strips, and we were talking about it the other day in my class, and the kids were like, "What?" I'm like, I need to find a YouTube video where they show you how to use a film strip. You just go beep, and somebody would sit in the back and turn it. So just to think, I don't think I'm that old, but there's gray up here and it's falling out. But it's just incredible where we've come. Even in my teaching career, I saw somebody tweeted out a picture of their technology book. It was a michED person, a computer book, and it had internet on it. When I went to school, there was HyperCard Studio was the big technology class we had to learn, the precursor to PowerPoint, I guess.
Right.
So
right.
It's just incredible. Every year we go further. There's just so many more powerful learning technologies. And a lot of them evolve. I mean, look at Remind 101. They dropped the 101, and now you can attach things and make it such a more versatile tool. So I think we're in an awesome time to be a student, I think. And
Absolutely. A teacher. Yeah, Emmy, you've never experienced the fun of taking a pencil and then winding up a reel-to-reel video or movie and putting it in its canister while it's still hot, right?
Nope, never done it.
It was so much fun. You don't know what you're missing out on. We had good times doing that. Jeff, you remember that, right?
No, I don't.
Oh my.
I do remember film strips, but they kind of got phased out. I graduated in 2003.
Okay, well. All right, I keep forgetting you're the baby of the office. So this is an interesting question. You know, michED community is really all about technology, right? Well, not all about technology, but very, very technology-centric. But this question 3 is, do you have a favorite low-tech or no-tech tool that has helped you as a teacher? I've seen a lot of really interesting answers. Todd, did you have any thoughts off the top of your head?
A low-tech tool or no-tech tool that I find, it's called the brain. Yeah, a brain and a pencil and a paper. Yeah, calculators are great, but nothing beats a pencil and paper. Everything's just built off of that. We're just making more and more advanced ways to do that. So, you can do incredible stuff with foldables, pencils and papers, crayons, drawing. Just getting the hands on and passing that stuff around, you can do some really cool stuff. So I don't think anything really beats the pencil and paper. And you got to turn the brain on too.
Yeah, Todd, are you like me where you're very very much into technologies and everything like that, but you really just want to have a book. Like you go on a plane, you want to have that book in your hands, the smell of the paper as you're kind of like leafing through it, and you don't have to wait until you get to 10,000 feet before you can open it up.
Right. Yeah, I totally. I'm not always a book, magazine, whatever. It's just something in your hands that you can read that's tangible. I think I finally broke down and I finally have a Kindle Paperwhite, but just because storage of all the books in my house the shelves are overflowing. But yeah, nothing beats that pencil and paper or the book. Having something to write on. I still jot down notes more proficiently on paper, and then better put that in my phone. I almost just take a picture of it. So, but yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Boards into being like a personal object, like personal whiteboards, and like using it for formative feedback, like quickly jot something down, turn it around, and teacher can look at it and nod their head or shake their head or come over and help. There's also like a whiteboard theme of whiteboard painted tables. Joanna Van Raden, right, are saying that was cool, low tech but super cool, so that they have it right in front of them. And then Jeff Bush followed up with a comment on that dry erase crayons are a cheap way to turn any surface into a whiteboard. So
yeah, definitely.
Whiteboard to the students versus being the front of the classroom, kind of out of reach.
Yeah, it sounds like you're falling apart there. This kind of goes back to what Todd was saying. Caitlin Popilars says an example is writing emails to Governor Snyder about the state of Michigan roads this winter and spring in their civics class. So not quite pencil and paper, but close enough. It's the old write a letter. Just updated for today's audience, right? That's kind of along those lines. Emmy, is there anything in your class that you do that isn't technology based, but is a tool that's used?
I mean, like you said that Jeff Bush said, because he and I are at the same school. We do the dry erase crayons a lot. I really enjoy that, and I think another thing too is just kind of like what Todd was saying was like using your brains, but I really like just sitting down and like talking with people. Drop the phones, drop the laptops, and just sitting down and talking and being able to work stuff out with a dry erase crayon, sitting on the floor and just sketch stuff out until we kind of figure out where we're going.
Sounds like fun. So is Jeff one of your teachers?
Yep, he's my teacher this year. He's my government/civics teacher.
He's a good man. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's fun. So. I've got Mike Cackley at my school too, so it's michED powerhouse.
Absolutely, yeah. We spent it. We went on the trip with both Mike and Jeff, and it was a good time, just talking about the michED community and how we can make it reach farther and more people. So both very good guys to have, and Jeff makes very good chicken. You should know that.
Yes, he does. He really does.
He knows his way around a grill.
Yeah, he's quite the cook.
Ask him
sorry to unplug.
Definitely.
We had a grill in our classroom for a while there. It was just kind of sitting there. So. That
sounds incredibly dangerous and probably against several fire codes, but I won't tell anybody. We'll erase this portion of the chat. Question 4 is, how can a powerful learning technology go beyond the walls of your classroom? Jeff, how can technology go beyond the walls of a classroom?
How can technology go beyond the walls of the classroom? Well, we're so interconnected now. With when you talk about technology, the internet's almost synonymous with it. We did a good job of mentioning some unplugged technologies, right? With the kind of the clickers can be a closed loop, but even that could be connected. I think like all the communication tools are definitely a huge thing. So anyone with us, how do you communicate with the outside world? I think that authentic audience is pretty sweet. to be able to tap into, especially for as a former social studies teacher. When you were talking about the letters to the government, like how cool that you could actually reach out to politicians on Twitter and have a meaningful conversation right there. It's just
It's a little bit hard to hear you, Jeff. So I wonder if you probably need some headphones.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better. I think.
No, just take social media, take Twitter as an example. Earlier we were talking about a low-tech option is an old-fashioned letter to a politician for a social studies teacher, but how awesome is it that a lot of politicians live on Twitter, and you can have a quick interaction with them, and actually have a back and forth, and that's really authentic to me. And there's a lot of examples of the internet being a vehicle, and just matching that up with what you want to do pedagogically, to make connections to other people that are in certain positions that you're talking about in class. As a former social studies teacher, anyway, that's where my mind jumps to, is being able to make those worldly connections with people that are on the ground. Now that I'm thinking about it, one thing that I did my last year teaching, we were studying Paleolithic humans, and we got really interested in this Çatalhöyük archaeological dig in Turkey. We actually made some connections with the people that were the archaeologists on site doing the digs and taking some pictures and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool seeing my 7th graders asking them questions about, what do they dig up today, and things like that. It's something that I think it's impossible, even 10, 15 years ago. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. One of the things that Jill L. Roberts Ed S. It's a long name, says discussion boards, website, Twitter, etc. can open up dialogue about school between parents and students. So going beyond the walls of your classroom and incorporating the community, the parents, the teachers of the around the district, stuff like that. Good point. Definitely good point. Keeping everybody involved. Todd, in your district, do you have any sort of formal social networking or channels that you can get those messages out there to?
Nothing that's like district wide, but I think we use a lot of Remind app for getting messages out to the parents. Most teachers now keep a class blog, whether it's on Weebly or something else, where they put the assignment, publish things so that the whole community can see. I think the more we make our class visible to the outside world, I use my Instagram account to take pictures of things that are going on. I'm trying to do a project this year where I'm going to try to take a picture every day of what we did, and then we're going to use it at the end of the year to sort of show what we did all year. Today we had Rachel's challenge in to talk about it, so I tweeted out a couple pictures from Rachel's challenge, and I also put one picture from it onto my Instagram account. So any way you can make your class visible to more than just what's in your walls, I think, is doing a great job, and it makes the learning experience visible. It's really cool now because I have students from last year following along, and they're making comments. Oh, you didn't do that last year. Why are you doing something different, and other things? It really makes them connect back, and it keeps them following along. So that's cool.
Absolutely. Does that pose a problem? Is Instagram blocked in your school in any capacity?
It's blocked on the school computers, yeah. So it does pose some problems. I talked about in my class today, and Flickr is not blocked, so I think I'm going to transfer the pictures all into an account with Flickr and make a school Flickr account, because most of the stuff I've had in my own personal account, and I'd probably like to separate that at this point.
Oh, that's a good idea. There's a service, I don't know if you're aware of it, it's called If This Then That. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Right, so you can set up an account where anytime you post something to your Instagram account, it'll automatically copy it and post it to Flickr and so on and so forth. So you could keep your same process, right? But have more outreach.
That's definitely what I want to do. I know Colby Sharp was talking about it this summer at a conference we were at, where he has his students do one thing, and then it publishes to all their social media accounts, their Twitter, their Instagram. So when they publish it on their blog, it goes to his Twitter, the class Twitter account and Instagram account, and gets published everywhere. So yeah, it's definitely a good advice.
Yeah, it's a really cool tool. Emmy, is Instagram blocked in your school?
We for cellular devices, obviously not if they're on 3G, but through the Wi-Fi it is. So.
Right. So something like that. That's just always my curiosity is, you know, there's so many powerful tools to use in the classroom. You know, YouTube, Facebook in some capacities. Yet if it's blocked, then how do you utilize this great technology? You know, for the students, and it just I don't know. I've always been of the opinion, and you know, Jeff and I have talked about this in the past, is like, you know, you don't prevent kids from learning how to drive a car because they might get in an accident. You teach them this is the way that you drive, and you be conscientious, and it prevents you from getting into a crash. So if we teach rather than block, I think that we'd be better off. But I understand it's much more complicated than that, but.
We have so many teachable moments right now with what's gone on with, you know, I mean, I live in Detroit area, so with Justin Verlander and Cape Upton, pictures going out public, and then now all the NFL issues, which are getting exacerbated by social media, and you know, especially with Jameis Winston this week. You have so many things to talk about that teach good social media skills. We ought to have them open in every building. I think, you know, prohibition's never gotten anybody anywhere. We can go back and study any prohibition, and it just has a negative effect. It puts more people onto those things in ways, and it creates more problems than blocking it does. I mean, study the history of prohibition of anything. That's what happens. Is you create this whole problem culture that wants to work around your prohibition. So. You got to get rid of prohibitions in schools like that and teach people how to use things properly. There's no
Absolutely.
reason to block anything.
Definitely, and you like think of all the energy that's surrounding trying to get past the blocks that are in place or get around them, and like what if we were using that time and energy in a positive way, right?
Yeah. Well, why should we waste our resources when we're so limited to do all this? And it totally messes up your whole network anyway. When you try to block and filter one thing out, you block other things, or then you find things. It's just a waste of our resources. We need to focus where we need to focus, and that's on student learning, not on trying to inhibit them to get to something they're already getting to on their own and they don't know how to use. So we might as well show them how to use it properly.
Absolutely. Well, we are 5 minutes away from 9, so why don't we really quick skip to the last question. What are other learning technologies you would like to try this year? Emmy, is there anything out there that you really, really wish would be implemented into your classroom?
I really wish, this is going to sound kind of cliche, but I really wish that, like, Twitter would come back. We did a lot with it freshman year, and then it kind of went away because that teacher left. I kind of wish that would come back just because we made so many community partners and did so many connections to that. That's how I got into all this michED stuff. He kind of pushed me for it. And then the other thing I'd like to see, maybe, especially at our school, is more of professional video editing. We've done a lot of videos before, but they're kind of mediocre. I'd like to see us really sit down, take some time with a good editor, because almost all of us have Adobe Premiere. I'd like to see us sit down and make a really cool looking video this year.
So it's more about kind of like working on strategies and getting the shot and editing more than the tools. You're working with Premiere already, right? You just want to focus a little bit on making a professional, polished product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like...
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it sounds like you were doing a lot with Twitter in a previous year, and you kind of missed that interaction. You thought that was a really rich way to partner with other people, maybe outside of your school even. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that'll come back a little bit. Todd, is there anything, any website, apps, or anything like that that you've heard of but you haven't quite investigated yet, and you want to learn more about before you kind of bring it in?
You know, they just installed an Apple TV in my classroom today, so I was sort of using that instead of a smart board and mirroring and all the cool stuff I can do with that. So I'm going to spend a lot of time with it. But I think it's more than just the tools. I mean, there's a new tool almost every day for education. I just want to find ways to connect my students to other classrooms. And you know, Mike Kegley has this great My Party thing for the state of Michigan that I'm going to try to get my students involved in starting next week. I want to try to do more that connects my students to the world, and technology is just there's so many different technology tools I can use to pull them out of my classroom and throw them into the world. So I'd like to try to do some Skype or Google Hangouts in the classroom where I can get, I'm a science teacher, so I get scientists to come in to my classroom for a little while. I saw there's a, let's see, Spring Lake teacher, David Tooney, is trying to get people to come in and read to his class on a regular basis. I'm just looking for all the cool ideas that connect my students to the world and make education more relevant for them, because they see education as just coming and sitting in a class. We have a computer lab school, so I don't have the great one-to-one technology. We're working on getting there, but I just want to show my kids the world and show them they can do anything.
That sounds great. And do you ever feel like you really want to make sure that this is a perfect solution for your classroom before you introduce? Like, you don't want to introduce it, have people like it, and be like, oh, this is garbage. You want to make sure that there is a strong educational foundation for it before you use it, or are you just like, hey, let's try it out and see what happens?
You know, I'm just let's try it out. Let's see what happens. We're going to learn doing it. If it's a mess, it's a mess, but learning's supposed to be a mess anyway. I mean, you know, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb the first time he tried. He made how many thousands of different attempts, and now the one he's made still lights up at Greenfield Village. So, they won't sell it to us, but the sad part, you know, he made one that would never burn out. But it's we have to make mistakes and model the mistakes for our students to see. We have to get out there and get messy, and we can't wait for it to be perfect, because we might wait and then, oh, well, there's a better tool. Or I'm out of time. We had too many snow days. You just have to go and do it, and you can't. I had Apple TV was installed in my classroom, done installing at about 8:15. I was using it with my students at 8:20 because we were just exploring different features. Kids were saying, "Oh, you can do this, so you can do that." Put the iPad up and mirrored some things up there, showing them how we wanted to use it in the classroom, and we did. Nothing in a great lesson. It was my advisory class, but you know, we just played with it, so they saw that what was going to come.
Hey, you know what? I think that's what that's what Batu would want. He wants you to. He says, "I don't care, ... what the people think. I want to try something out and make it really happen for us."
And he thought it was clever, right?
Absolutely.
I think it's an important thing to mention that attitude starts with Todd clearly establishes a culture in his classroom that I am a learner too. We're going to try a lot of things. Some stuff is going to suck, but we're gonna be in it together. And some stuff is going to be great. And we've got this shared vision together. I mean, it's a community of learners. It's we really got to abandon the I got to make sure everything's perfect. I am the disseminator of information, and I'm going to make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted, because we got to get away from that. We've got to take some chances. We've got to take some risks, and we got to let students know that we're in it together with them to make those mistakes and help each other through it.
Yeah, and the other thing is teachers can't be afraid to sit side by side and learn with the student. Some students found out I got Apple TVs. They're in 8th grade, and one of them came and stopped by at lunch, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Block, can I show you a couple things you can do with it?" And really, really cool kid, technology advanced, doesn't get great grades, but really knows his technology. And he just hopped in my room, and he's like, "Let me show you this. This is cool." I was like, "Wow, man, thank you for taking the time to show me how I can learn." And he really got a kick out of showing. Well, there were two of his former teachers, and they're showing us how to use the device. So teachers can't be afraid of sitting down beside their students and having them show, having the student show the teacher what they need to do. And really, that's what makes learning great.
And real quick, on your side of things, when a teacher does that and you feel like they're more alongside of you, a partner in learning rather than kind of removed, I mean, like how does that help you? What do you think about that kind of a learning?
I really enjoy it just because then if I make a mistake or if I figure something out, it's like it's easier to learn, or it's something I can show the whole class. It's not, hey, I'm the teacher, I'm going to do everything right the first time, so just listen to me. It's basically just like they're another student, they're just a little bit older than us.
We're all students our entire life, aren't we?
For sure.
What a great note to end on. It's 9 o'clock. It's after 9 o'clock. Thank you guys so much. Emmy, it was so nice to have a voice of an actual student in here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
And Todd, one of these days, man, we want to meet up and have Mike make us some chicken.
I'm going to Lansing tomorrow night.
You going to Lansing tomorrow night?
I'm in Lansing tomorrow night, Thursday night and Friday night. I'm at Okemos Road, Holiday Inn.
All right. Well,
we'll tweet.
We'll tweet you after this and see if we can't get Jeff coming over here and make us some really good chicken, and and we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk and we'll think about what.
Heading your way soon. I just have to get in the mail.
Absolutely.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. Until then, think to yourself, what would Batu do, and live your life just like that. So, on behalf of Jeff and myself, thank you guys so much for joining us, and thanks to everyone who watched. And tune in next time. So, we'll see you guys later.
Have a good one.